Jennifer, welcome back to the show. We're not talking blogger.com events today. We're a little off subject, and we're talking about how to protect the public from cyber scams, and you're sharing tips to avoid cyber scams, right?
Absolutely, and they're, when I go through them, they're kind of the obvious ones, but they're easy to forget when you start checking your email, you start getting involved in your workday, and you tend to look past those little things that you really want to keep an eye on.
Sure.
Yourself safe and secure. So I have a few tips to avoid cyber scams, a scam that's going on right now, and just some general housekeeping tips so you can keep yourself as secure as possible.
Mm-hmm.
So one thing would be always know who you are dealing with. So if you get some sort of an offer or an email and you can't really find a physical address, a website, a phone number, then it's something you probably want to avoid.
Sure.
But most importantly, you want to do your research. So you can look for reviews, you can evaluate the offer, not to be a Debbie the Downer, but if it's too good to be true, a lot of times online it is then.
You bet.
So really take the time. If there's no website attached to it, no phone number, and you can't find any information, and you can't find reviews, I would say ignore it.
Yeah.
An obvious one, but don't wire money unless you really know where it is going. I'm sure you get the emails all the time that, you either are open to, you're supposed to be receiving this amount of money or they're looking for this amount of money. If you're going to send money, do it on a secure payment portal and know who you're sending it to.
Absolutely.
Be in contact with that person. Keeping track of your monthly statements seems an obvious one, but I know it's easy to let the months go by without looking. But scammers can actually steal account information and then run up charges. If you're not keeping a close eye on it, you might not notice it happening.
Mm-hmm.
And additionally, I guess I'd say then dishonest merchants may be adding fees to your accounts. It's happened to me before, actually.
Oh, me too.
Yeah, so you're not even knowing it, and then you're getting these fees building up. So you really want to take time, review your monthly statements, and just keep track of it.
Mm-hmm. And in increments sometimes of like $1.99 or $2.75, or it looks like almost like a cup of coffee on there. You're like, whatever.
Small amounts you wouldn't even notice, especially if you're a shopper and you went out for a big day. You're going to check maybe the big things that you bought, but you're not going to notice a couple of bucks here, a few bucks there, in the grand scheme of your credit card statement.
Another one after disasters, most common if you're donating after a disaster, try to make sure it's a charitable cause and you know where it's going, using established charities, not these pop-up charities that come up, right after a disaster. So you really want to do your research there.
That's a good tip.
Yeah, I didn't even think about that.
I didn't think of that either. Trying to make sure it goes, to the Red Cross or something established, not just, that's a good one.
Right. So so just keeping, and I think the common thread is just doing your research, but definitely, if it's a health product too, or a health treatment, definitely do your research. Talk to your doctor. Again, look at reviews and use reputable companies and products. They try to sell you so many things on health, and not only are you open to a cyber scam, but your health is at risk when you're taking these things off the computer. You don't know really what it is.
True, and there's more than that than ever now.
Right, exactly. I mean, between weight loss pills and rapid, age-defying this and that, you really don't know what you're going to get. Another one is you'll see a common phrase, low risk, high return with little investment type of deal. And I mean, I think we all know, being in business, there's always some element of risk when you're involved in an investment. So again, doing your research, really, really understanding what the offer is, and again, it sounds too good to be true. It probably is.
Oh yeah.
Other just useful tips that you want to keep, practice at home when using your computer is checking your spam settings on your email. So a lot of people just set up their email and don't filter it for spam or don't check their settings. So there's a lot of great settings in there that once you find your way through there, it's different obviously with every email carrier, but once you navigate your way through there, you can set yourself up so that you get very little spam into your inbox. Yes,
and for some of our listeners that might not be so email savvy, just think spam, scam. Okay.
Right.
And basically a lot of these email providers like Gmail does a really good job at filtering out, spam and, throwing it aside. So, but sometimes you might have some emails in there that are not spam, but just fell in there. So be careful, be selective of what you delete in there.
Yeah, carefully check them. Running security and virus checks on your computer for malware. Keeping everything updated. So if you do have a website, make sure you're doing the updates. using strong passwords. I feel like I tell my parents things like this. Don't use your name and your birthday.
Yeah.
Or your kid's name or your dog's name.
Guilty.
Yeah, don't do that.
I'm kidding.
Right.
Not my
And it's a great idea to
Everything's
change
getting
them
hacked
often,
with
too.
Bandit. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
What was that?
What is your password, Emilio123?
Yeah, Bandit.
I'm just kidding.
My dog, Bandit.
Oh, no.
Yes.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. So change your passwords often, too, and just, really think about generating a strong password, not your dog's name.
No.
And in the recent scam update, there's a credit card and debit card chip scan that's happening. So those chips are put into the credit cards and debit cards to reduce fraud. But what's happening is fraudulent companies are sending out, or scam artists are sending out emails asking you to update your personal information.
Mm-hmm.
When you do that, you're giving your personal information away to a scam artist if it's part of the scam, or if you're clicking on a link, you could be downloading malware. So the best way to avoid it is by not replying by phone or email and contacting your card issuer immediately and making sure that it is really from them, and only provide your details on the company's site.
Wow.
Itself. So say you happen to have a TJ Maxx rewards card, not that I ever would, but I'm kidding. I kind of am addicted to TJX. So, be on their site when you're updating your information and make sure you're in touch with them. And the HTTPS in your little web browser, that S stands for security. So look for that S.
Yep.
And if you think you have been scammed, you can always report the details to the Federal Trade Commission. And they also have updated scam information, so you can, check there often and just see what's going on in the cyber scam world.
Awesome. A lot of great information here. If you'd like to see this segment, you can click on theroundtableradio.com, or you can visit riblogger.com to check this out, or one of our Facebook pages under the Roundtable. So all you got to do is Google the Roundtable Radio, and we're going to pop up everywhere. Jennifer Geaber, riblogger.com. Thank you so much. And you know what? Listen to our listeners, if you're out and about this weekend or sometime next week and you're wondering what there is to do, you can check out riblogger.com for the latest events in town. And she'll be right here next week with us talking about the top 5 events here in Rhode Island. Jennifer, thanks for being a part of the show.